I'm Caroline Brickhouse. I'm a 7th grade science teacher here at Sherwood Githens Middle School. Initially, I just first decided to become a teacher because I was raised by a teacher. My mom was a teacher. I used to play school all the time as a young kid, line up all my stuffed animals and teach to my students. And so it's kind of living the dream, so to speak. So that's initially why I got into education. I actually took a little bit of a break from education. And then decided to come back, and I think that's the thing that I like to focus on the most, is what brought me back. I came back into education because I really enjoy fostering relationships with my students and getting to hear their voice and getting to hear things that are important to them and just watching them learn. I love watching kids learn and watching the light bulb go off when they see something new or understand a concept in class. So building relationships with my students is important because I think it establishes a climate of trust in my classroom. It allows students to feel like they can take risks, ask questions about things. I feel like it creates an atmosphere where they're more open to learning, advocating for themselves, and having that honesty and mutual respect between myself and the student, I think, is just key to ensuring that they are going to learn while they're in my class each day. Well, I think the main challenge that I've faced is students feeling comfortable talking on Zoom instead of talking in a classroom, which you would think is it's kind of funny because being around people can sometimes be intimidated, but I think they're also kind of intimidated by seeing themselves and hearing themselves on a screen. So that's definitely been a challenge. But one of the things that I've done to overcome that challenge is constantly doing these different kinds of check-ins, like pop culture related things that are really interesting to them to get them talking. So not necessarily content related things, but things that they're excited about, and get them talking about, what they did on the weekend, or, what's going on TikTok right now, because obviously that's the big thing that kids are into, and just kind of having that focus, and that starts to let them feel like, okay, I think I can do this. I can maybe open up a little more online, and it may not always be that they're unmuting and talking to me, but they're typing to me, they're talking to me in the chat, they're sending me messages, and that is where that communicative piece has taken place during COVID time. So we don't get to see each other in person, but really making an effort to talk about things that are relevant to them. They are activists. They are plugged in to what's going on in our society and in our world. And I think a lot of times students are kind of just brushed off as like, oh, well, they only care about, these trivial things, or they just, they care about just being with each other and going to the movies, blah, blah, that kind of thing. But really, they are plugged into what's going on. And there has been a lot that has happened in the past year and a half with a pandemic, with dismantling racism and protesting, and again, climate change, like I talked about as well, being a hot button issue. So that is what I'm learning from them. They are passionate. They really care, and they want to learn how to be more informed, better citizens so that they can, progress and move forward. And that is something that is so awesome to get to see. My biggest motivation for coming in every day and doing what I do are my students, and really getting to see and hear from them about things going on the learning process, talking about these different scientific topics. You came in today and you saw that we were talking about layers of the atmosphere and weather and climate change, which is something that is huge on their list of things that they're concerned about. So I love coming in every day and just hearing their insight. I'm a true believer that I can learn just as much from them as they can learn from me. And so that is my motivation, is to hear their thoughts and their insights and kind of see the world through their lens.